Hi, welcome to Box Guitar Tuition. So my classic album inspection today is Ted Nugent's debut solo album, or certainly you might call it a Ted Nugent band. Now it's released sometime in September 1975, so it's 50 years old this month. One of the unfortunate things with music is sometimes people make great records and you don't, as time goes on, you find out more about that person and you like them less, and that's certainly the case with Ted Nugent. But we just have to kind of separate that. Obviously, I don't agree with his politics and so on and things like that, but he's entitled to his opinion, and this is about music, not about politics. So I think this is a key hard rock album in the development of US hard rock and metal. 1975 is a key year. You've got Aerosmith's Toys in the Attic, you've got this. Late 73, early 74, we've got Montrose's debut, really starting the whole thing properly. Of course, you've got Kiss Alive in 75 as well. So this is when it's that time when the American bands really start to get their sound to me. You've had, Grand Funk really is the proto American hard rock band, maybe, and it's Mountain and so on. But these bands that I've just mentioned, this really is like a banner year. So Nugent had been in the Amboy Dukes, and he got Rob Grange from them into the band, Cliff Davis, English drummer on drums, and then the excellent Derek St. Holmes on vocals, who's really got one of the great underrated hard rock voices, St. Holmes. He's got like a nice piercing tone of Christmas, but he's got just the right amount of balls, and he doesn't sort of have the kind of bluesy plantisms of some other rock singers. Very good. So the other problem for some bands is their first track on their first album. Often they start with the best track. There's examples of this in history, like Night Ranger, Don't Tell Me You Love Me, or Bon Jovi, Runaway. And Stranglehold, probably dodgy lyrics aside, is undoubtedly just an absolute classic track. It's just got a great riff, brilliant groove on this. It's 8 minutes 22. The way it breaks down as well with Nugent's guitar and the shh sound effect. The bass is great on this. Derek St. Holmes' vocals are great, and then there's a kind of Ted Nugent in the interlude. Just a classic track. And you got Stormtrooping. It's another really good track. St. Holmes doing the lead vocals, only 3 minutes 7. Another cool riff on this, using these two note shapes that are beloved of these bands. He's playing the open A string, hammering on 5/7 on D, then playing D5, G5, D7, G7, those two note shape, and that type of sound going back to Montrose is just everywhere on these kind of bands. Instead of using the power fifth of a band like Sabbath, they're using what's called the inverted fifth. Judas Priest will do this. ZZ Top are an influence on this as well. I should say, ZZ Top were another band, an influence in that time. Then you got Hey Baby. I don't like this track as much, but it's kind of jolly. This is credited as written and arranged by Derek St. Holmes, but we'll come to the credits. Then you've got Just What the Doctor Ordered. Is another really good track. Pretty much 43. That was the end of side 1. Then Snakeskin Cowboys open side 2. It's got a really cool really cool riff. 4 minutes 38. Another really classic tune. Next up we got Motor City Madhouse, and I think this is an important track in terms of the history of Ted Nugent and where things will go. Ted Nugent's the vocal on this. Motor City Madhouse has got a slightly more manic subject matter. If you think about where he ends up by the time of the Scream Dream album, this track's 4 minutes 30, this is obviously sowing the seeds, this type of track, of what will come. Next track's Where Have You Been All My Life. It's okay. And then You Make Me Feel Right at Home. Lead vocals Cliff Davis on this. This is a kind of anomaly track. It doesn't really fit for me. And then it finishes with Queen of the Forest, which is a really good upbeat rocker, and another great vocal by St. Holmes. I think this album's, it's 7.5, 8 out of 10. Tom Werman, this introduced him as the producer, really, and someone who would work well with hard rock bands. He did Blue Oyster Cult, he did Dokken, he did Motley Crue, but he's worked with Ted Nugent, really good. And this began a run of Ted Nugent albums, the Free For All album, maybe bettering this. I've kind of coming towards that, or Scratch Fever. Those three stand out principally for the reason because they have outside vocalist Meatloaf famously does Free For All because he fought with Derrickson Holmes, who came back in and does some of those, and then Derrickson Holmes comes back in for Cat Scratch Fever. After that, he would get another vocalist, his name escapes me, but Ted would start to do the vocals more, and it would be, instead of the Ted Nugent Band, it's Ted Nugent. And this is where allegedly all the strong songs are credited to Ted Nugent. But Nugent admits that Stranglehold was co-written by Rob Grange, which would make sense when you hear how prevalent that bass is. But he never received a no royalty share. Derrickson Holmes claims the album was co-written by the whole band and that Nugent took sole credit as a way not to pay them royalties. So how true this is, I don't know. But I suspect Ted Nugent's savvy or corrupt, whatever you want to say, in his business practice. But this is what will sow the seeds. This is why St Holmes leaves. And he's such an essential ingredient on this. And Ted Nugent just failed to recognise that, really. I imagine Ted Nugent made more money in the short term, but maybe the Ted Nugent Band would have been a more long-term thing, better thing if he kept that. There's a bonus track on a CD called Magic Pie. I haven't heard that, I must confess. So Ted problems aside, also this time Ted Nugent, there wasn't the media outlet, and it's that thing, you know, if you shout louder and get media coverage, well, you keep doing it. So Ted Nugent has got controversial opinions, and typically he just started being more controversial to get media coverage. At this time it was more about the music. The band used to tour and do some big shows, and a lot of their success was built on their power as a live unit. Very good unit. Yeah, so this album I think eventually had 2 times platinum. Quite a big album for them, and a classic example of American hard rock in that mid-70s period. Yeah, okay. That's all I want to say about that, really. Ted Nugent album, 50 years old. So I'm this month. I will see you again, and remember to share and subscribe. Thank you very much.